And joining me now is the British ambassador to the United States, Sir Christian Turner. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for being here.
Great to be with you.
Let's start with Iran. It's obviously going to be one of the many topics that are going to be discussed at the upcoming NATO summit. Talks on a final peace agreement with Iran are ongoing. Do you think that any final deal between the United States and Iran needs to be signed by the United Kingdom as the JCPOA was?
Well, look, it's a different context now to the JCPOA, which was, over 10 years ago. Countries like the UK have a shared interest in the outcome of these talks, and that's why we are supporting US efforts to get the Straits of Hormuz open, to work with the Omanis and others. We're delivering mine-sweeping capability to try and be part of that story, make sure we're helping keep those straits open for all our economies. Of course, for the nuclear talks, which I used to be a part of, we absolutely want to see them lock down their highly enriched uranium. I mean, we're all agreed Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And then, of course, there's the Lebanese factor as well, the excellent work the US did to get this MOU over last weekend. So on all of those fronts, I think the US has absolutely got the UK at its shoulder to make sure we get to success.
A physical signature by the United Kingdom is not as necessary.
Not the way it's being constructed at present, but we are very much part of the conversation. My team's here in Washington, others working closely with Gulf partners to get to success. We need to see this regime dealt with.
And as we mentioned, we're on the verge of this upcoming NATO summit, but President Trump's been pretty critical of NATO members, including the UK's support for the war. I want to play some of his recent comments.
What do you want the allies to do more than what they are doing right now? Do you
just be loyal? I just want their loyalty. We don't need their money. We don't need anything. We have the most powerful military in the world by far. But I just want loyalty.
I'm not sure if you heard that, but the crux of what the president had to say there was he just wants loyalty. He wants the UK to be loyal. Do you feel that the UK is a loyal ally of the United States in this moment?
Well, on this specific subject running into NATO, we have good news today because we've heard the president's ask. It's actually not new. He's been saying this for 10 years, really since his first term, on the need for Europeans to burden share. And I'm pleased to say the UK absolutely agrees with that. We've announced an historic rise in our defense spending. That's our largest rise since the Cold War. It's a total of $393 billion US, Ryan, a huge amount over 4 years. That's equivalent to about a 27% rise. Making us the third largest cash spender in NATO. Those figures actually, for people like us, sound a bit just inconceivable. Let me tell you this, that it would allow me to buy all 32 NFL franchises. I'm told it would allow me to buy McDonald's globally twice over. So this is a really serious recognition that we need a strong Europe in a strong NATO, and the countries like the UK need to be at the forefront of it. And for those who are interested in the detail of this, we're learning from the war against Iran. We're learning from the war in Ukraine. It's more autonomous capability. This is about drone warfare. This is about being really ready for the tech-enabled war, the modern warfare of the future.
I'm sure the White House is happy with the increase in funding, but I think their argument would be that it is still less than NATO's 3.5% defense spending goal. What is keeping the United Kingdom from reaching that mark?
Well, it's not less because it puts us on the path to that 3.5%. So the 3.5% is by 2035, and this gives us a clear trajectory towards it. All countries are on that trajectory. The challenge for every democratic country is that's a trade-off. And we have schools, we have hospitals, we have voters who are saying they need local services. And that's the difficult democratic decisions any government has to make. My government today has stood up and said, yes, our security is our first responsibility, and we're putting our money behind it.
Right. And President Trump would argue that you have more flexibility to make some of those decisions versus domestic versus national security decisions, in part because of the protection that's provided by the United States military and the investment made there. What would you say to that response?
Well, I basically accept the challenge. We have to stand up and burden share, as I say. If you look, I mean, Mark Rutte, who we just saw there, talked about the Trump trillion. That's $1 trillion of investment over the last 10 years. In just the last year, in 2025, non-US allies in NATO have had an increase of 20% in their defense spend. So I really do think we are seeing Europe stepping up to say, yes, we must all be part in this new volatile world we face with shared threats of stepping up to respond for shared security.
And let's talk about Ukraine. You mentioned that already. Kyiv says that it needs an additional $20 billion from its allies. ahead of the NATO summit to cement what it sees as its current battlefield advantage over Russia. Do you believe that Ukraine still has an opportunity to win this war? And is it incumbent upon the NATO allies, the NATO partnership, to back Ukraine at this key moment?
I don't even believe it. I mean, I know it from the facts. I mean, the hard news is that Putin is not winning. We assess that he's losing maybe 35,000 soldiers a month. That's 1,000 deaths a day. It's a devastating figure. His economy is creaking. We really think this is time to keep the pressure up, to support Kiev in what continues to be a devastating war. So yes, in Europe we have stood up. The money going in, the munitions being bought is now being led by Europe, and that's why we need the strong NATO that we will all celebrate and be part of in Ankara.
And finally, before you go, I can't let you go without talking about the political situation in your country right now. Your Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, announcing that he intends to resign. You're about to welcome your 7th Prime Minister in the last 10 years. How do you explain this political turbulence to those of us in America that are watching it from afar?
Yeah, well, probably the first point is that we're a parliamentary system, so it's a different kind of democracy, and we vote for a party, not a president or a prime minister. And in many ways, I would seek to reassure people that whomever takes over from Keir Starmer as leader is standing on a manifesto on which the Labour Party was elected. So I think that is a degree of continuity. I mean, people all over the world, it's no different here in the US. They're asking for, growth, for jobs. They're saying to their elected politicians, we're feeling left behind by metropolitan elites who aren't responding to our needs. So actually, there's quite a similar narrative, I think, in the UK as voters look in different directions. So I think the turbulence is common across many of our countries, if turbulence is a word we should use. But I'm confident, and the one thing, Ryan, I will guarantee is this. In the middle of all of this, our strongest relationship, our vital, consequential and enduring alliance in this week, the 250th birthday, is the UK-US partnership.
Okay. And in terms of the World Cup, no predictions there? Or
now I'm a diplomat. I've got to be really careful now. I had two teams, Scotland and England, of course. Scotland, sadly, the Tartan Army have gone home. This after the poor people of Boston and I think Miami have had their bars drunk dry, traffic cones on the statues. It's actually, I mean, the serious point is it's been the most extraordinary sign of those ties I'm talking about, of the friendship, of the kinship between peoples, of those connections that soccer is all about. Let's hope it's England, USA in the final, and I could be quite split there, but you know who ultimately I'll be supporting.
And kudos to calling it soccer in this environment.
Well, I know my audience. So,
right. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for being here with us.
A pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.